Hi friends from around the world. Here we are with domain names, or the trademark dilemma if we want to make it like that, or the cyber squatting, whatever you may want to call it. It is about domain names in any case. Now, what is a domain name? Is it an IP right? Is it not an IP right? I leave it up to the academics to discuss about it eternally if they want. I think it is an important issue for businesses, and that is what I'm concerned about here and in this channel. So what we want to look at, how is the domain name are conceived on the internet, what are the actors, what are the dispute resolutions, what we have at our disposal in order to get over it, and how to argument one or the other way. So let's start. What is a domain name? Well, a domain name is, so to say, the internet address a company want to have. And what is the internet address they want to have? Well, they want to have the same as is business name, as is trademark, as it is known to the consumer. So they want to extend the trust they have already built up with the consumer with regard to the internet. And have it in the same way, so that the consumer does not start from scratch to know a business or whatever. Sorry. So this is about the naming of the domain name, and the domain name. Well, it is at the end, it is a kind of bits and bytes, so numbers, but in order to memorize better, a domain name has been invented, so to say, to make it easier to use the internet and memorize the name rather than a bunch of numbers. So it is practically in order to organize the internet, organize the numbers behind. So if you have apple.com, so that is an internet name, a valid internet name. So emails and the internet knows exactly where to reroute him and what is behind, what is the destiny of it. Same as timcook.apple.com, for example. So this is an email. Although it is apple.com, but it has another naming behind, so it is easier. It is the only way so that the internet functions in a way we used to use it. So what do you want to do with this domain name? Well, the naming, you want to build your trademark, your IP strategy on this. Now let us look at the domain names, how they are organized. Well, you have top-level domains, second-level domains, and third-level domain names. And they are not organized in that way. So the top-level domain names are the one with after the last dot. There you have .com, for example, .gov, G-O-V, .edu, .net. Well, these are generic top-level domains. Edu for educational, .org for ORG for non-governmental organizations, and com for business entities, and net for the internet-related industries, and so on. These are the generic top-level domains. The last dot and what follows. Now, there are country-level domains as well. These are top-level domains, geographically organized, like DE for Germany, or ES for Spain, or CA for Canada, which are also top-level domains. So the last dot plus the words that follow. And then you have second-level domains, which comes before, comes in front, right? Like apple.com, Apple would be the second-level domain name. So that's how it works. You have the top-level domain, and you have the second level domain. The third level domain is in the middle. Sometimes you have it, you have, for example, org.es, so that is a non-commercial organization, non-governmental organization from Spain, so that would be possible. But the second level domain is where we have the main problem between the domain name owner, which might be whoever it is, and the business who is the legitimate owner of that second level domain and wants to get it. These are the dispute situations. Now let's first see how we get to a domain name. Well, you know about ICANN. You might have heard the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. That is a non-profit organization formed specifically to control the internet. So this is ICANN, ICANN, right? So this is based in Geneva, I think. And they have a kind of worldwide responsibility. And they have registrars, a lot of registrars, at least one in a country, who is accredited by ICANN in order to register the domain names, the top-level domain names, in their, so to say, jurisdiction and according to criteria which has been predefined by ICANN. So that is the accredited procedure. And it goes like nearly everything in IP on the first apply, first to serve basis, meaning that those who coming first in, they are first served, and those who are later on wanting to get one of these domain names, well, if it is occupied, they cannot. So the internet address is a unique address, and that is its big value, right? You can only get one domain name with regard to that formula, that number, that words, and nobody else can use it. So this is ICANN, and you have the national registrars who are responsible in order to adjudicate, so to say, the names. And once the name is adjudicated, so is given to somebody, then that somebody has to maintain it. There are some fees to be paid, right? And then, well, if you discover afterwards you have a trademark with regard to that, with regard to that domain name, well, you have a problem, right? That is the dispute, the initial dispute on how to do it. Well, that problem, it is not it is a trademark with regard to domain name, and therefore it is called the Trademark Dilemma. First thing. Second thing, what can you do about it? Well, you can negotiate with the domain name owner on transferring that to you. And if the domain name owner is somebody who is in the business of cyber squatting, of hijacking, so to say, the domain names, then he is very open to discuss what can be the sum in order to be transferred the domain name to you. If it is a legitimate business owner which has some business along it and has probably a trademark in a different jurisdiction perhaps, then you can still negotiate, but I don't know whether that company is willing or whatever amount is necessary in order to make that party willing to transfer the domain name to you. That is negotiating, right? You can go to court as well. You know, the court are expensive, and you need to demonstrate some things, why it is you and why it is not the other to be the right owner of it, and the length of the proceedings. Well, you know all this. And then you have the UNDRP, the Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy, which is overseen by WIPO, And WIPO has this, so to say, organized through panelists, through certain rules, what need to be demonstrated by the complainant, and what is the requirements which need to be reunited in the defendant, and so on. Well, that is quite easily organized. So there are 3 conditions each panel would look at. The first condition would be, is the trademark, it is normally about the trademark or design, maybe design, if the trademark is sufficiently similar to what would be the domain name, so in that case the second level domain name. And well, that is an issue which is not exactly such as trademark, but there is, some kind of assessment to be done by the panel. Could be 1 person or 3 persons, according to what the complainant and the defendant agree upon. Well, the similarity, there must be a similarity between one and the other. The second would be, there must not be a legitimate interest in the defendant and the domain name holder, a legitimate interest why he has or why he wants to maintain its domain name. And the third, there must be bad faith in the person of the defendant, bad faith in order to get to this name. So three issues to be solved by the panel. And this is all about. So you need exactly where you stand already. And if you go to the arguments raised, well, the arguments raised by the, so to say, the domain name holder, that one who was first to register its the domain name in dispute. So he would say, well, I have a business with regard to that, and he may produce some invoices, or I have a similar trademark and I'm using it for this or for the other. Or I have a commercial gain, so I have, I'm preparing to use a business, and or I have the intention to do this and that, and I am not misleading any consumers, or I'm not tarnishing the other brand, the trademark at issue, or whatever. These are the arguments the domain name owner would like to raise, and you must be prepared in order to get over them. This is one thing. The other thing, you as a claimant, as the one who wants to get the domain name, you would rather go to the arguments that the other person, the defendant, they have a history of cyber squatting, of hijacking, or they have no trademark whatsoever, or there's no business whatsoever, and they have, primarily disrupt the business of a potential competitor, or he wants to take up the business of the other with regard to the bad faith. And his own arguments would be, well, I am the legitimate owner of that business. I have a long history of trademark. I have probably other domain names in geographical areas, and this is the one which takes up the business on that. So these are the main issues: the trademark dilemma, the domain name. The domain name is not very much publicized on it. We talk always about trademark, etc., but I think the domain name is becoming even more important now after the pandemic and all the internet services which are disrupting, and we are increasing its business, etc. The cross-border, there's a kind of disruption of supply chains, international supply chains, but still there is internet is still the one which is increasing in its business. So this is about the general explanation on what is the domain name. I will go into some cases, real cases, which has been decided by the United Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy, by the WIPO. They are published, and I will go through some of them in order to get a more flesh in order to understand it better.